But if thou hold thy peace, in other words, if you don't say anything, if you just be quiet, he says there shall an enlargement. Somebody else is going to help us. Church, I stopped by to tell you, if we don't say anything to this community, if you don't say anything to your loved ones, if you don't say anything to your co-workers, if you don't say anything to your family, somebody else is going to say something. God wants you to do it because you are in the kingdom for such a time as this. You are in the kingdom to save souls. But you know what? If you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. That's what the Bible is saying. He's saying that if you don't save us, God already has another plan. Our deliverance, and you see what he says, our enlargement. Our enlargement. You know what that means? That the people were going to grow anyway. Southern Heights, the Church of Christ, is going to grow, whether we knock on any door or not. Souls are going to be saved, whether we knock on any door or whether we tell anybody. It's going to be saved in spite of us. But we are in the kingdom for such a time as this, to save souls. So this is an opportunity. This is what he's trying to get her to understand. This is an opportunity for you to do what you've been prepared, placed, and provided for. This is your opportunity to do it. But if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Look at what he says. He says, but if thou hold thy peace at this time, our enlargement and deliverance shall arise from another place. Church, if we don't do our responsibility, our deliverance is going to arise from another place. The deliverance of this community is going to come from another place. It might not come from you, but it's going to come from somewhere. God already said it. But then he says, but thou, in other words, Esther, you and your father's house are going to be destroyed. And whoso knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this. I maintain that each one of us are in the kingdom for just this moment. For just this moment in time, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to save souls. We have an opportunity to tell somebody about Jesus. All the time that we have is right now. We don't have next week. We don't have next month. The only time we have is right now. The only breath that you have is the next one you take. That's all you have. You are in the kingdom for this time. For this day in 2009, you are here for this particular time. Don't talk about, well, starting in July, I'm going to start telling folks about the church. In July, I'm going to start telling people about the Lord. Or in the fall, I'm going to be a better Christian than I was last year. You don't have that. Only time you have is right now. You have this time. You have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. What are you going to do about it? We see what Esther did. We see what Esther did. Esther gave her answer. That's what we read in verse 16. She told him to go get all the Jews together. Verse 17 says, Mordecai did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Church, once Esther got that word from Mordecai, she gave him some instructions. You want to know how the story turned out? Let me tell you how the story turned out. Esther went. That's after saying, if I perish, I perish. She knew that she couldn't go before the king without him calling her. She went anyway. She went to the king and she told the king about this plot. And she also told him that this guy Mordecai had saved your life. Because the king, one night the king, he couldn't sleep. Again, you see God operating. Mordecai tossed and turned in his bed and he couldn't sleep. And he called the people together. He said, read me the record book. And it was something, what made him not be able to sleep that night? Y'all ever had any sleepless nights? You know what? You come up with some good stuff on some sleepless nights. See, sleepless nights ain't always bad. See, sometimes it be something troubling your spirit. Sometimes God be trying to tell you something in your sleep. He'll wake you out of that bed. You'll jump up.
Amen.
And you'll be just sitting there at the foot of the bed.
Right.
Something on your mind. You can't sleep. Deal with it. Deal with it. Whatever it is, deal with it. Because see, the Lord sometimes come through our sleep. Now he'll get something in our spirit. We just can't sleep. Can't sleep. Either we done something wrong or we try to do something right. But he'll wake us up. He'll wake us up. We can't even sleep. That thing will just be bothering us so bad. That's what happened with this king. He couldn't sleep. So he said, read me the record. He read the record and he saw that Mordecai had saved his life before. And you know what he said? I never repaid him. I never said thank you. So he called Mordecai. He called Haman in. He said, somebody had did something for me. What can I do to repay this person? Haman thought he was talking about him. So Haman said, oh, let's do a big ceremony. We're going to do this and that. So he planned Mordecai's elevation, his praise. Later on, Esther told about what Haman had did as far as trying to kill the Jews. What God did was, the king said, I can't change the law because I've already put the law out there. But what you can do is you can add something to it. So what Mordecai did was said, now the law was that all the Jews was going to be killed. Now look at this. The law had went out that all the Jews was going to be killed. But you know what Mordecai did? He added another line. Mordecai said, all the Jews will be able to defend themselves. So in other words, when you come for them, you got to bring something to get something. So when they came for the Jews, they could fight back. Amen. And guess what? Nobody got killed because that stopped all that. Because they thought they were going to just be able to kill them. Amen. End of story. End of story is this. It all worked out. The Jews survived. The Jews survived and they were able to continue to go on. This is how, why is that important, preacher? Because remember, where did Jesus come from? He came out of that tribe. See, all of this is a whole line. So it all gets back to us. What if they had been wiped out? Jesus would have had to go, God would have had to go another way. He would have had to go another way. But this was all God's plan. We need to understand that God always has a plan. Even though his name might not be mentioned, God has a plan for us. God is in your life. You might not see him, you might not feel him, but he's operating in your life. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You have been prepared and you're placed here for a purpose. Your purpose, your time is right now. Your time is right now. You need to step out on faith and believe, just like Esther believed, that this is your moment. This is your time. You are here for such a time as this. It's not by coincidence. It's not. We start out taking baby steps. We crawl. Look at my little granddaughter back there. She's not ready to crawl yet. But when she starts crawling, she's gonna crawl. And then the crawling is gonna be longer and longer. And then next thing you know, she's gonna get on her knees. And then after a while, she's gonna be walking. And then next thing you know, she's gonna be running around like this one over here. That's the way life is. You start off small, but you gotta start somewhere. You're not gonna conquer the world in one day. You need to understand that this is your time. This is your moment.